AM Business with 16 minutes after 7, and from 1.5 billion cities in 2009, Ghana's financial service sector grew by an average of 10% in 2010 and 2011, followed by a strong growth of some 40% and 72% in 2012 and 2013 respectively. Now in 2014, financial and insurance activities recorded a 54% growth and were also the second largest contributor to GDP. According to accounting and advisory firm KPMG, Ghana's insurance industry is shifting with respect to portfolio mix. The life insurance market is consolidated, with the top 5 companies accounting for about 81% share in 2013 and 2014. The non-life insurance market is relatively fragmented, with 26 players as at September 2015.
Now, key drivers of growth in the life business market include increase in household incomes of the middle class, microinsurance through mobile phones, and natural disasters. With the first anniversary of June 3 flood and fire disaster a couple of days away, we will be talking about the impact of that unfortunate incident on the insurance industry. How much was paid out by companies in liabilities following the disaster, areas of high risk, and how businesses are recovering.
And joining us for this conversation in studio is Mr. Edgar Redu. He's an underwriter and also a marketer. But before we even start off our conversation with Edgar, let's listen to a few companies we spoke to.
For property damage insurance, that's what fire insurance is about. It's about the building and the contents, and usually the contents are your stock or your plant and equipment or any inventory that you are holding. And what we did was to make sure that we were in touch with our clients. So we had an immediate response team, and we're able to mitigate the losses which occurred because we got them to clean up. And so the losses that came up were not as bad as they would have been. So having taken care of the risk management aspect, then we came to the actual documentation, collecting the documents for the claims. And we did this also expeditiously. So I should say that almost all our clients, there were about 30 clients that were affected, almost all of them have been settled, except a few that we are waiting for documentation on. Our reinsurances were restructured so that we were not hit on our retention, so to speak. Our retention is what we keep on our balance sheet. So because we got the reinsurers to pay back to us what we paid up front, we were able to settle our clients. So it depends on your business model. If you are prudent enough to do the reinsurances that you have to do, then the claims don't fall on you totally. Then you can respond more quickly. On the matter of capitalization, yes, most companies have tried to meet the capital adequacy ratio, and we are also in that position. So capital determine how much you can keep on your balance sheet and all that. And what happens was that this was a catastrophic event. In other words, there were multiple individual risks that were involved. So you needed to have a catastrophic cover, which will respond when you have a series of losses arising from one single event. Because your usual reinsurance program will not deal with a catastrophic event except
2nd, 3rd of June last year when the major flood happened. Obviously it did affect us. We still had about, I would say, plus minus 35 brand new vehicles which were affected. The mud/water, I think, if I'm not mistaken, reached something around this height in my office here. It was a considerable amount since everything at that height and below got spoiled. Computers, desks, tables, cars, everything. To come back to the insurance, yes, we were insured and we were covered. And obviously, there's always some certain amount of franchise that the insurance companies keep. But grosso modo, we were our claim was in general was accepted, and I don't think it's been paid yet. I think we're still on the debate of the matter at this point. We luckily, because probably the damage was limited compared to others, to the companies on the other side of the street, we were able to renew and continue having a coverage against floods. At this point in time, what we took as measures of security, as you can see when you're coming close to Japan Motors now, there's a new metallic structure, if you see, a 4-floor. It's simply a parking building that was built this year, specifically to avoid this kind of headache. And this is to keep all the vehicles of the workshop after sales, what we call after sales, of the workshop at a height where they have no risk of getting damaged by the floods in case it happens again.
Last year was very, big damage, very big damage. Were seriously affected, and the results of this damage, or the result of this flood, is still running as of now. From the client side, we still have cases with clients where we are still not able to get their issues concluded. Some customers will go legally. Insurance, unfortunately, also as of now, they have not even completed. Now we are talking of 1 year now, and up to now, the insurance has not yet settled our claims. And it's really giving us very bad time. You can imagine now, you can see our showroom also, we reduce the number of vehicles, brand new vehicles, to also reduce the risk, because the more vehicle you have here, the more risk you are going to encounter. You can see other companies on this graphic road, they are parking cars on the street. So we are trying our best internally to take some measures, but it has very, very, limited results. I think we are talking of, 150 cars, between brand new cars and customer cars, has been affected by the flood. Some are written off, and majority of them are repairable. Well, the claims we've done, it was approximately $1 million. It was the highest claim we have ever done. As of now, I'm speaking to you, the insurance has not been renewed, and the only things we got to know that they have basically canceled our flood insurance cover. So we are insured, all right, but the flood cover is not active. They have canceled it. They said we are no more covering the flood, although legally they are not supposed to cancel it, because already I have an agreement with the company. They should stick to this agreement until the agreement ends. Then we say, okay, I want to insure you or not. But already I have paid premium for you, covering that certain time of certain period of time. They're supposed to stick to it. We are yet to hear from them.
And after hearing all those comments, I'm sure you're asking yourself a lot of questions. We'll try as much as possible and ask everything that's on your mind right now. Edgar Redu is an underwriter and marketer. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
First of all, what do you make of the comments that you've heard? How long should it take for you to, get your monies back?
Anyway, good morning to our viewers, and let me just say that it's a pleasure, being on the set. The question you asked, before I get to that, let me first of all say that there is no standard rule per se that says a claim must be settled within
A certain number of days.
certain number of days or whatever. But there is another rule, and that is more related to motor insurance. Motor insurance gives specific, periods when claims must be settled. You could, for the purposes of good practice, you can bring this into the other lines of businesses and say that we have 4 stages in claims settlements. We have the notification stage, we have the liability stage, we have the settlement stage, and then we have the payments. the notification, normally the liability stage that is a problem, because that is where you need to support your claims with all the necessary documents that are required. Let me just deviate a little from this one so that you understand a little thing here. Let's say someone is involved in a road traffic accident, seriously injured. He could be lying in hospital for probably a year. In that case, the doctor has not finished assessing him. So far as that assessment has not taken place, it means the claim would be hanging. Good. Now let's come back to this flood issues we're talking about. Yes, flood has occurred, one-time event. But the clients or the insured, for them to feed the insurance companies with their list of loss is where the problem is. Some people have, should I say, complex operations, or even their own in-house data system is a problem. So they themselves, in trying to compile their losses, is a big problem for them. So not until these things hit the insurance company will just be waiting. Because he doesn't know what you've lost, even though they may have come to do a physical survey of the area and what have you. And in huge claims like this, normally two people come in. From the insurance point, we have those we call the adjusters. Now, the client or the insured also has a right to appoint an assessor. That is, get a professional who understands these things to begin putting in place all that needs to be done, and then they meet the adjusters and then they battle it out. You know, when some of these things are not done, it delays.
Do you suspect that in these cases, this is what is probably happening because it's like a year on?
No, you see, there are two sides of the story. One side being that if they had said that they had submitted their documents all to the insurance company, then you can say that what time did you submit it, and then at the time of the report, then of course you need to find out from the insurance company why the delay, right? But if, so far as we're concerned, we're not being told that we have submitted our documents maybe as far back as such, then it becomes a question to find out what's really going on. Yeah. So we need those kind of details to enable us to determine what actually is wrong. But yes, as at now, some people, and I think they're right, some people have not, you know, been paid as a result of their documents that are being looked into. Some of them are going back and forth with the adjusters, and then, you know. Now, I want to give you something here. You see, as the policy always says, that it's not a profit-making policy. Okay, it's to put you back in the same position as you enjoy. All right. Now, you may have some items, probably, like you have some laptops or some PCs or some desktops that you have already discarded. They are not in use. So they are just lying somewhere. And unfortunately, when the flood came, it covered it. Then you want to make a claim
On
that. This is where the adjusters, who are professionals, would have to determine whether really these items you are making the claim were not damaged before the happening of the event, because it's not supposed to be a profit-making game, and most people would want to take advantage when some of these things, you know, happen, to say, okay, this got damaged, this got damaged, this. So we also have to come in from that side just to make sure that it is exactly what it is that we're dealing with.
So it's a whole negotiation from both sides.
Yes, we definitely will do the negotiation. That is the settlement stage. You see, that's the settlement, because we've gone beyond the liability, which means you've submitted everything that needs to be submitted, and then we vetted everything. Then in terms of the settlement, now we're going to say that, okay, these items that you brought, from our adjuster's point of view, these items are not supposed to be part of it, or maybe we'll see, okay, let's do some wear and tear depreciation. What have you probably bought the item, you've used it for a certain number of years, and automatically, so far as it's damaged, you're going to ask us to replace it. Now, what are we going to do here? We're going to do a new item for an old item, right? So what it simply means is that you're going to get more than what you actually had. So do we do some, you know, 60-40, 70-30? So we go through all that as part of the settlement process. So till we finally agree on the figure. Then we go to the last item, which is the payments. You understand?
Okay.
So some of these things we do them. It's not that somebody is deliberately wasting somebody's time, but you know, due to the complex nature of some of these claims, some claims are very simple to deal with, straightforward claims, and then you deal with
Just before Bennett comes in, I mean, the whole idea is you want to get back, and you want to
What
get
you
back
had.
as quickly as possible. So if it
Exactly.
takes like a whole year before you are
could
settled,
affect
then
business.
how do you?
It doesn't affect business. You see, one of the funny things is that the insurance companies themselves have, I think we are lacking in certain things we do. All right, the insurance companies are not really positioning themselves for the general public to see their value properly. And then the clients themselves to, you know, intangible products, as they call it. I mean, it's very easy for you to take some CDs out of your purse to probably purchase an item that you can see. So you see your money in there. Now, when it comes to purchasing something and then you are giving just the paper, it's a problem. The reality is like, why it's a waste and all that. Within these policies, right, are the extensions, what we call the business interruption. The business interruption is exactly this, the question you asked. I've been out of business as a result of the flood. It's taking me about 1 year to come back. That 1 year, your business has been interrupted. So you decide that you're going to insure that business interruption. What is happening is that, okay, I have workers to pay. As a result of the flood, I cannot say my workers should go home. So my workers for 1 year, probably I spend 1 million Ghana cedis in taking care of my workers' salary. Okay. Maybe the profits that I should have accrued if the business was on is probably about 10 million Ghana cedis, right? So one or two. So you bring that to the insurance companies that should I suffer this loss, it's going to take me this long to come back to business. So I want you to provide a cover that will make the business look like everything is normal. I'll not have lost anything. That's the business interruption. So the insurance company will take it up. So for the 1 year that you're sitting down, every month, your employee salaries will be paid.
This is smart, but is this usually done?
That is the question I threw across, that the insurance companies themselves are not bringing themselves up to making the public know their real values on the ground. You understand? That there are so many things that are really out there. Then the other side of the story too is what I just explained to you, that someone thinks that it wouldn't happen to me, so I wouldn't go for it. Because the first place, if you use the CDs and you're going to huge amount of CDs, you give it to a company and then he gives you a paper. You look at it and you say, what's the worth? Right? There are other sides of the matter. Maybe we shall come there, then you understand it better.
But now let's talk about this, Edgar. Now the effects of the June 3 disaster was very huge. I mean, on human life and property as well. Do we have an idea of how much companies had to pay out in liability?
Oh yes. As of now, I mean, from the industry, in terms of the properties that were damaged, we've paid close to a little over 400 million Ghana cedis. Yes, that's what has been paid so far.
A little over?
Over 400 million Ghana
That's
cedis.
a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, not too much. That's just about $100 million or something like that.
Okay. Maybe you can give us 50 out of that right now.
$100 million, so that shouldn't be too much, you see. So, in terms of you see, the casualties in relating to the human beings, that's another story on its own, and it's another complicated something that I don't wish to go there, but if I were to go there, I would say that it's a failure on the part of the National Insurance Commission, because I think that I've always criticized that particular provision of the act that makes this compulsory fire insurance thing. There is a whole segment which is the public liability aspect, which is more crucial. And in my view, I think that should even be the basis for which the law was promulgated. A typical case is what happened at the Goil filling station. You get it? You saying that, so far as the Goil filling station is concerned, insurance must be provided for that. But then the human beings that found themselves there, you are not providing a cover for that. And I think that is the one that is more crucial, because you see, the whole idea of commercial buildings being insured is because individuals or human beings are likely to be there, and when there's a disaster, the human beings are going to suffer. So that is the whole concept of the law. So I ask myself the question that there is a problem, let's say Accra Sports. We also May 9, right? It was a disaster. Was it the physical structure that suffered?
No.
It's the human beings that suffered.
Even though some of the physical structures,
like the
also the chairs. and
No,
stuff
that's what I'm
like
saying. That, but, so you see, so you should understand the concept of the rationale behind it. So you see, the public liability policy for me is more than, I mean, that's very, very crucial. You want to take a place like, what do you say? Maybe yes, International Conference Center, National Theatre, you watching any of the programs there and the building caves in. Is it the building that matter, or it is the human beings that matter? You know, so that's a deficiency I find in the law, and I've always said that the National Insurance Commission really needs to do that, because the next thing is that they have made that section of that public liability a rider over the property insurance, which I don't think is proper.
How do we fix that? I mean, if we were
It's just a question of legislation. It's just a question of a practice directive from the NIC saying that, look, if you're going to issue this policy, make sure you have a public liability limit of a minimum value, right? You say a minimum value of, let's say, 1 million Ghana cedis, right? So that 1 million Ghana cedis could be made as an adequate compensation if maybe 200 people are injured, right? So these are some of the things that you, the National Insurance Commission, need to do. That if you are issuing a policy for this compulsory fire thing, ensure that the public liability section, which under normal circumstances should have been a policy standing on its own, but for some funny reason is been made to come and look as a rider, you say, okay, make it a 1 million cedi limit, minimum. You understand? Then, of course, it means you are making a headway. Or else the liability comes up to, you know, like say, okay, I'm sitting in the studio right now, having a chat with you. You don't have that compulsory thing. Now, so the building cave on me, I got to sue Joy FM for $1 million. Do you have a policy for that? So we don't need to get there. It should be made compulsory. Because as I said, the human being matter as against the property.
Okay. So we heard Amin Kabara talking about the fact that they've renewed the insurance, but they're not covered anymore on floods.
That is another.
Is it because the flood and fires is considered high risk in insurance?
It is not high risk. You see, at times our people don't get it. 2 days ago, Germany got flooded. In the Texas is getting flooded by the day. California, UK is getting flooded. Everywhere is getting flooded, right? And as insurers, you don't run away from the risk. You don't run away from the risk. I've heard some of my colleagues make mention of issues relating to certainties and uncertainties, making it look like what insurance does not cover certainties, or rather uncertainties and all that. Please, this is grammar you find in textbooks. You see, grammar you find in textbooks that you use to go and write exams with. But in reality, on the ground, it doesn't exist. This is a genuine problem as a result of the weather. It is not the individuals who have created the flood for themselves. The weather is a factor.
Well, and attitudes of the individuals can also be a factor.
The attitude of individuals, you have to segment the attitude of individuals, because one of the things you got to know is this, that the weather is the number one factor. The land is a factor. The land use is a factor. Before you talk about attitudes of individuals, right? There is this thing that runs, that El Nino that runs. And we saw it happening here. El Nino is a weather condition that brings a lot of heat into the system. The moment that heat comes, automatically it follows with fierce rains, right? And the next thing too is that the ground becomes so saturated, and as the rains come, they can't soak in there. So automatically, they would spill over. We are making asphalt roads everywhere. We are developing every place. We are concrete pavements and what have you. So the land that the water has to go in is now all cemented. So it has only just some little places that it's got to pass. And so places that hitherto were not experiencing these things are now all experiencing. I mean, whoever thought Trasaco would ever experience flood, now they are experiencing it.
And Akosombo as well.
This place, what's the name? This Okonglo Junction, the Legon, whatever they call it. All those places are getting flooded. Teshi, other places. Initially, these, but as I said, it's a result of land use. But the issue is that insurance, you don't run away from that.
But if you assess the risk and it's too high for you to take,
let me tell you something here. In the United Kingdom, okay, insurance, the hub of insurance is United Kingdom. Okay. And they are the ones that you read their books telling you about these certainties and uncertainties. Today, Association of British Insurers have launched what they call Flood Re. And the Flood Re it's designed purposely to take care of people within flood-prone areas, to give them affordable premiums that they can pay, so that in the event that their homes get flooded, the insurance industry would give them some compensation.
Can I link that to after the disaster a year on? Do you feel that the industry has learned anything? Are there new products and services like what you've mentioned is happening in the UK?
That is the unfortunate aspect of the Ghana Insurance Association. Even in the US of A, there is a company that has come out, Aon Affinity. They are now taking all the flood issues. They are not running away from it. Because as I said, it is not a deliberate something. These things are things that are happening as a result of,
Why do you keep blaming the commission when there are
private
insurance companies?
No. You see, the commission, you are there. Your number one, you see, you have to protect the policy holder. You got to, and before that, let me just explain one thing here. People don't buy because you are selling. When you will go to town and you want to buy a tin of Milo, I believe you take the tin and you look at it. If it's dented somewhere, you will not pick it up because you think it is not worth the value of your money. So at that time, you are a consumer. So you want to make sure that the cedis you are taking out of your purse to purchase something, it's within, so you are satisfied with your purchase. Consumers are buying not because you are selling, but because they want value for money. And that is how you should approach it. If you cannot make your product attractive to the consumer, he will not buy. So that is the angle you got to approach it from. So if you are not getting enough people within your fold, it is because your product and services are not appealing to the consumer. So if you say that you are not going to give them the kind of flood cover, you're totally out of place. You need to come out as a body. The insurance industry has to come out as a body. Start with something. Yes, but you see, the insurance industry would always be will be able to do things when they have good reinsurers. You see? And I find a deficiency in the law today, because if you are asking everybody to go through Ghana Re, and Ghana Re is trying to chicken out, then it poses a problem for the insurance companies, right? So here again is the National Insurance Commission who has to look at it and say that, look, okay, fine. If this is the situation that we have to do something about the law, right? There are big time reinsurers outside who will take this chicken feed for nothing. I'm saying that in UK today, they have launched what they call Flood Re. And the essence of Flood Re, that is the Association of British Insurers. They have held it.
But you know that's a highly developed economy.
And I'm saying that if you are talking of it being, you are learning insurance from them. You are quoting what they put in their books for you to read. There are certainties and uncertainties that you, the insurance company, are quoting today. You are quoting it from British books. So if they have gone that level, then you should know that you can do better. You don't always have to wait for the white man to set something before you also do it. That's why you got this. All you need to do is assess the situation, analyze it, and make an impact on society. You are part of nation building people.
Edgar, how about the individuals? Us. Have we learnt anything? Are we insuring now? Have the volumes shut up?
That is, the insurance company says it's not going to give you insurance. What do you do? You heard from the gentleman like that. They said the insurance company says they are not going to do it. So if they are not going to do it, what can you do as an individual? You can't do anything, right? It is for the insurance companies to make themselves what it is in society.
So even after the disaster, the industry is not growing.
No, but I'm saying that it was an unfortunate situation in the first place for the reinsurers to have come to say they were not going to provide cover. That was, a very, very unfortunate statement, because as I said, today, the places that you said you are not going, and I asked the question, do you want me to come and insure my property at Ibri Hills? You want me to come and insure that one against flood? Then by the time the flood will get there, then that time the whole world is even damaged. Is that what you want? So if somebody says you want free or cheap? No, you don't do things like that. So you are Rexburg, let the people see your value. If you come together as a pool, and you are able to get your reinsurers to understand, you'll be gone. Because now every country floods, there's flood. So it's not like Ghana's own is a peculiar situation. There are a lot of things that are happening. So I think our people need to, go back to the drawing board and then do something.
We've got to wrap up our conversation, Edgar, but just before we go, there's one more thing.
Before we go now, KPMG believes microinsurance and mobile products will define the future of Ghana's insurance industry. Listen to this.
Done in 2014, the total gross written premiums, of that were done by players in the micro insurance sector was about 13 million Ghana cedis. Obviously, this is quite a small percentage of the overall gross written premium in the industry during that period. But we are expecting that with growth in technology, and in improvement in we are in the ability of providers to reach out to the informal sector. We believe that this can triple over the next few years.
All right. I don't know what your final take will be on this. Microinsurance and mobile products, they will define the future of Ghana's insurance industry.
Well, so they say. I don't think so, because the industry is a little bit saturated for now, And one of the things is that the individual is more dependent on disposable income. That's for the individual. The corporate bodies, yes, they may find a little something easier to do when it comes to some of these things. But if you are talking about microfinance, microinsurance, we are even yet to get into it. You see, we are now trying to. It's at this teething stage, And I think the commission has been trying to, get new companies, new people to begin driving that particular industry. So as it stands now, it's not something I would really say that it's going to be as it is. But let's see what happens.
All right. We want to say thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your thoughts.
It's been really interesting conversation.
Yeah. All right. Stay with us right here on the AM show. We've got AM Talk. This has been AM Business, brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Stay with us.